immediately we got there, the numbers were like, we were like 300 to 500 people, and we were actually crowded. Actually, I stood in a queue for like 2 to 3 hours. This immigration officer handed out a small form, and then they asked us to move to the next room. And I was like, okay, so this is where it is going to happen. The biggest, challenge was in Montreal, guys, because that was actually my point of entry. And when you are on this journey, especially when you are coming as a student, usually you make your research and people tell you some of the challenges they meet at the point of entry and some of the preparation. So all your the focus is actually at like getting past Montreal, right? Or the point of entry, if I should put it, because some people are coming from different ends. So when we landed in Montreal, already our flight had delayed 2 hours. For that reason, other people, like, they had their flights rescheduled, others had to wait.
What time did you get to Montreal?
I'm not quite sure about the time, because sometimes we start our journey in a different time zone. Yes. But I think we got there around 2 p.m. It was in the afternoon, yes.
Because I know normally the Brussels flights gets there, I think 12.
Yeah.
So if you delay 2 hours.
2 hours, yes. So we got there around 2 p.m. Yeah. When we landed, we joined the queue for St. John's, right? And we were in the queue, like most students coming to St. John's, some schools around St. John's.
I think when you get there,
yeah,
there are various flights also like arriving.
Yeah.
And then the border officers will show you like where to go for your study permit.
Yes.
So now tell us, when you got to the officer,
yeah,
what were the questions you were asked?
All right. So immediately we got there, the numbers were like, we were like 300 to 500 people, and we were actually crowded. Actually, I stood in a queue for like 2 to 3 hours until it was 5 p.m. and then it got to my turn. I was thinking maybe because the queue was lengthy, so I was thinking maybe, all these guys in front of me, as soon as they get there, they go through their brief interview, they get their permit, and they go away. But when it got to my turn, I realized all the people who were in front of me, they were seated in this lobby, waiting. I was like, what is going on? So this immigration officer handed out a small form, like she handed it out to me, and then I looked through. It was, I had to give like my details, like my name, the school I was attending, the program of studies, and then the place I was going to stay if I had acquired the options. There were options, and they were even briefing us if you had to go to an Airbnb, you have to give the address and those kind of things. And already Marvin had already secured a place for me, so I wrote the address. I completed the form actually quickly, and then I gave it to the officer. And then they asked us to move to the next room. And I was like, okay, so this is where it is going to happen. The interview is going to happen. So we entered there, and then one officer came in and he gave us a brief update of the current situation. He welcomed us, and then he said they are having technical issue with their systems, and for this reason they will not be able to give us our study permits. And then the room became like noisy. Everybody was like, wait, what is going to happen? Like, yeah, some people had friends around and they were having discussion like, no, we don't have our study permit. And I was just quiet because I didn't have anyone to talk to. So they just took the forms from us and they told us we should try to catch our connecting flights to our places, and therefore they will mail it to us, right? And that was another obstacle, yeah.
I remember when he touched down, when he came, he didn't have a study permit, so it was quite difficult because you use your study permit as your immigration documents, right? Your legal stay here.
Yeah.
So for most of the things you are going to do, even opening a bank account, you need your study permit, right?
Yes.
So it was a bit tricky. So I think he waited for like 2 weeks or...
Yeah, so 45, in total it was 45 days.
45 days, that was a very long wait.
It was.
your life has been put on hold.
Yes.
Because you can't do a lot of things.
Exactly.
So it was a very tough time. He had to keep on calling IRCC over and over again. It was a lot. So yeah, but I think that was like a peculiar situation.
Yes.
Because it doesn't normally happen like that. So because what normally happens is you're always giving your study permits at the point of entry. So yeah, his situation was quite peculiar. So now you've been in Canada for how long?
Since
8 months, since September.
Yeah,
right?
so maybe
some months.
Yeah.
So in brief, tell us your experience so far. How do you see like St. John's, the education system, like shortly?
Okay, let me touch on the education system, because actually when you are back home, you have a perception of that the studies here is quite easy. You know, or can I say it in our local language?
Oh yeah.
Oh, we usually say, oh, Abuchiri this year and the air for my brothers. You see, it's like I don't know if you spend a lot of time preparing for something, or like you are learning a skill, right? You spend a lot of time and effort in learning that skills, and then when you have to apply it, you use very few minutes to apply it. That is the same system they've created in here. You see, the system works. Their educational system is teaching people how to solve like real life problems. So even though they've planned the program and they've made it so flexible, but you are actually doing a lot of work, because it is really difficult. Almost every other day you are doing assignment. If you are not doing assignment, you are doing research. So I had that perception back home that, oh, coming here, it was going to be a walk in the park, fala, as we say it. But guys, you will work, you will use the brain, you will use every other information, like you will use everything in here. So just throw away that mindset that studying out here is quite easier. But it is good when you set your expectation high that, okay, it is going to be difficult, and then you come out here and probably back home you were already doing things like here, it is going to be easier for you. So for the educational system, the very first thing I saw was that the kind of perception we had back home was actually different from what is on the ground. And this is from what I have experienced. Other people might have experienced it differently, but this is the first. And then the second, I heard that Canada was cold, but I didn't expect it to be this cold. Maybe it's because hearing something and experiencing it is totally, yes. In here, it is really, really cold, but it is not always cold like that. Some days we have the sun, and that is when sometimes you get deceived, because if you see the sun up in the sky, you might feel like, yeah, but then exactly. And then the people in here, especially the indigenes, some of them are very nice people. Like I don't know if it is something to do with their attitude. They are always willing to help, which might look intimidating because you are not used to that back home. You know, people don't usually extend hand to you, but then in here they want to help. Some people don't take it well because they feel like, is this person looking down on me by trying to help me? But I think it's something I truly appreciate, because when you come to a place, you really want to settle in, and if you find the people being friendly, it is really good. And then I think the biggest challenge in here is actually the food. You know, the food. You will not be able to enjoy your local meals, but it's okay. You will get some. You'll get your way around it. You know, you always get your way around it. But the place is very nice. It was as expected. You know, it is abroad, and the place is very nice. The people are nice, and the culture in itself is very nice. And I think I've said some of positive things about the place. Maybe I should touch on one or two things. Yes, I think the transportation system
is not the best.
Exactly. Sometimes we portray it as you will watch some videos online. They will say every 1 minute, yes, the bus, the transportation system works, but it is not always effective. Yes, you really have to plan your ups and downs to suit. Unlike back home, you can just stand by the roadside and get transport in here. It doesn't work that way. If you had to go that way, you have to pay more. It is very expensive. But I think the transportation system works, the bus system works at least, and that's one of the obstacles I think the place has. Yeah, and you have to have a lot of patience to stay here, especially when you are doing processing, like you are processing documentations. When they tell you 2 weeks, there is no way you are getting it in 1 week. And when they tell you, but when they tell you 2 weeks, you are surely getting it in 2 weeks. It can be 2 weeks plus or minus some few days, but there is no shortcut. You have to go through the process. So you have to have a lot of patience to be able to stay in here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right, so guys, this has been like a very detailed conversation. I hope you've taken a thing or two out of it, because he had like some peculiar situations. So yeah, so this brings us to the end of today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and see you same time another time. Bye.